Voider here at London Calling today. I've got Scott Lyons, who is the Senior Director, Applications and Service Portfolio at the Multimedia team in Motorola. Now, Scott actually began his career at MTV in the mid-90s. He was looking after promotion for the Video Music Awards and Movie Awards. He also co-founded a production company called Sugar. Then he moved to London in 1998. Began producing large-scale live TV and webcast events. He's also worked at WPP's interactive agency Digit as a commercial director. Now, I would like to move into find out a little bit more about Scott. What role does music play in Motorola's strategy?
Well, music inevitably is important simply because our devices are widely distributed. They are capable of playing music, and obviously as MP3 players kind of become old hat, and music and mobile phones become optimized, music is a very important part, as well as obviously the other entertainment factors, because your mobile is with you all the time. So that's important to know. Your MP3 player is not.
That's very true. And now, as far as Motorola is concerned, the Moto and Rocker are strong brands and they have strong links to music, especially the youth market. In what areas or what ways does Motorola look to differentiate from the other handset manufacturers?
Well, it's a good question, and it's slightly interesting to answer. And obviously Nokia with their Ovi, and of course Sony Ericsson's been doing their stuff. I mean, what we're trying to do is focus not so much on big music download shops, but we're focusing more on what the experience is on the device. Because we think that consumers are going to go to their own shops, their own relationships that they've got with the Napsters, the eMusics, and the 7digitals, and so on and so forth, and continue to buy music from them. What we want to do on the device is actually have great experiences that can take advantage of that music.
Can you tell us a bit about a mode shift technology?
Which is on the new E8. Yes. So basically what the E8 is capable of doing, which is really great, is that when it's in phone mode, everything on the device is basically all the keypad, everything for making the phone call. When you want to switch to music mode, everything morphs basically, and the only keys that appear on the device are music-related keys. And the great thing about the device is that it's completely flat. So when it's off, it's completely dark and black. When it's on, it's lit from underneath, and it's got several layers. So when you're physically pressing down on the device in the different modes, it actually has haptic feedback. So it doesn't feel like it's what I don't like with flat screen devices is that you're pressing down on nothing. There's no tactical feedback. So therefore, what we're trying to do is say, hey, you pressed on something, but it's flat. So it fools the mind.
Yeah, no, that's really good. Is there anything we can look out for in the future apart from the mode shifter on top of that in Motorola handsets as far as musical features and usability, the UIs?
UI is a big feature for us, and I think it's something that we're spending a lot of time on now and trying to improve. And obviously now that we have several different platforms, Symbian, Linux, Java, and so on and so forth, we're trying to create a consistent user interface across the board. What I would say that you should watch out for is what we're calling a connected environment around media and how you engage with media, whether it be music, whether it be video, whether it be anything. It's a connected environment. That's all I want to say about it.
Okay, that's fine. And Motorola were the first mobile handset manufacturer to actually have an active participation with iTunes, at least in the US.
Yes.
Obviously, that original vision never quite came to fruition. But what's your status with iTunes and other music vendors now?
Well, our relationship with iTunes is pretty much non-existent at this point.
Okay. That's right.
It's obviously they've got the iPhone.
Yeah.
I think one of the reasons why it didn't work in the beginning was because of the limitations that Apple set on us, which is the 100 tracks that you can keep. That was it.
Right.
You do more than that. So it was good for the time. Obviously, we do have relationships with other. The fact that Janus is now prevalent on some of our devices, so you can download content from a number of different stores around the world.
Right.
We're not just focusing on one. We're trying to offer choice.
Trying to have a good spread.
We want to offer as much spread as possible. There's over 200 music stores in the world that are Janus
So you don't want to dictate to the consumer. You want to be with all of them so they can
Absolutely.
use your device to access the tracks via all.
And we think that most consumers actually rip their own content, for the most part. We know that for a fact. So now that when you plug your device into your PC or your Mac, it actually recognizes it, and you can basically drag and drop content between your PC and your device.
Okay, that's good. Now, the Motorola E8, which I think we just spoke about just before, is your most recent release aimed at music lovers. Firstly, I would actually like to thank Motorola for actually taking the lead out of any of the handset manufacturers and introducing standard 3.5mm headphone connectors.
Yes.
I can't believe that it's taken this long.
I know.
But it's just such common sense. But are there any music-related features or products we should be looking out for?
From us?
Yeah. Any specific ones you can give us a little
Well,
heads up?
I think Motorola has always excelled in our accessories area.
Right.
So it's about having Bluetooth accessories where you can control the device, where the device doesn't have to be physically on you. It could be across the room. There are a whole range of different accessories that are wireless, headphones, all of that stuff that we think complement our devices very, very well.
And what about how will Wi-Fi and so perhaps location-based features, how will they work with music in the future? Is there any...
I think there are a whole range of different types of use cases around location-based services. So as an example, you're listening to a track, you're in the connected environment, and it says, hey, you like Madonna. By the way, she's playing at Earl's Court. Do you want to buy her ticket? Here's some news. It's basically, there are a whole range of different types of connected environments like Wi-Fi, like WiMAX and DLNA, and all of these technical things that we like to talk about that actually will enhance the consumer's experience when it comes to engaging with content across the board.
90% of handset subscriber growth last year was in the emerging markets.
Yes.
Obviously, I take it Motorola sees a big opportunity, not just purely for their handsets, but also music offering going into those emerging markets. Are there any particular areas you're looking at first, or is it global that you see as the biggest opportunity out of them, whether it be India, China, Africa, Philippines?
Your first two, India and China, and Russia. India, China, and Russia, I think, are very, very important markets. Russia is problematic because of the issue around the black market, and people are not used to paying for stuff. But I think if you look at India and China in particular, we've acquired Soundbuzz, which is obviously a big music supplier within that region. It's powering our music services there, so people can purchase content. In China, we've actually had Moto Music going for the last 7 years, and it's actually one of the biggest legitimate music services in the country. So we have, I think, led in a lot of those different markets.
That's really good. That's interesting. I wasn't aware of that.
Yes.
So they've been driving that. That's good. And is there any particular reason for Motorola's presence at London's calling this year? Obviously, you see music as being part of the brand or the association and the importance of it as far as consumer use of the devices are concerned. Is there any particular reason, or it's just to check out, meet people, network? I know you're speaking on a panel.
Yes. Well, generally because of the panel, but I've been coming to London calling for the last couple of years. I go to MEDEM, I go to different events around the world that focus around music, because I think it's important to understand where the industry is going, connect with people that are fully 100% doing music, so that we can understand how we can better our devices and better what we're trying to offer.
On that note, what are you picking up from? What are people telling you as far as the direction that the music business in the digital realm is going?
It's ultimately about consumption of music and how can they consume it easier. And I think that's the real thing that I'm picking up from people is how do they manage and monetize music in the mobile space?
Yeah.
How do they control it? And how do they make money from it? And that's the key thing. And obviously it's not just us, but our fellow competitors within this space. Obviously we're offering various different ways of doing that. And I think obviously watch this space. It hasn't necessarily been cracked yet. There are interesting things happening.
Okay, no, that's great. Look, I'd like to thank you very much, Scott, for your time today.
Yes.
And we here at the Music Void wish you every success in driving forward, especially in those emerging markets which you already seem to have a good foothold in.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a great day.
You too.